need those. And let's see. Certainly need some buckets. Buckets here. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to this bathroom remodel finishes with West Strawberry. Still working on the logo, still working on the theme song, but if you hit a like, I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. I'll keep rocking and rolling. You guys keep rocking and rolling. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, Mika. I'm glad you are good. Good to see you, good to see you. Peace and blessings and all of that business. So currently, I am clearing out some space so that I can mix some mortar. So I'm getting down with the get down, if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, snap. Mika, I'm guessing you're not from the good old US of A. What's going on, Miss Mitchell? How you doing today? I gotta say, I'm glad that you're here with me right now. I'm glad that you're here with me. If you got questions, I got answers. If you just want to say hey or just watch me work, that's cool as well. And now, I'm putting me together a relatively trouble-free bucket. Peace, peace. I appreciate the blessings. I'll take them. I'll take every blessing coming my way. I promise you. So thank you. Well, I'm working on this bathroom, and right now I've got most of my field tile laid, as you can see. And now I'm just gonna put in the rest of my waterproofing around this window, because this is in the shower, that window. And then I'm gonna start tiling around it. And eventually, I'll put some glass in there and have that whole window situation waterproof. Because right now it is not. It's just gotta kind of be avoided. And we thought about maybe even a liner or a curtain or something around it, but that still isn't going to do anything about the moisture that could get in there, so we had to deal with it. What's going on, Jake? Yeah, I'm renovating. I am a renovator. That's what I do for a living, but I also do the woodworking and stuff here on YouTube as a hobbyist. So I don't know if you can hear me over all this noise I'm making, but yeah, I do both. And so I just think it's cool to expose people to more stuff. We need tradesmen right now, for sure. it's not for the weak, but you know, I mean, what is, you know? Anything challenging is gonna give you some strength. You know, sometimes you get it as you go. I'll tell you what, not everybody who started in construction started out tough. But everybody that stuck with it got there. Oh, I absolutely love what I do. Oddly enough, I mostly like it because it's not a job. I'm not a job type of guy per se in terms of being able to work under people. I'm more of a self-learner. So, this is my business and I really, really enjoy it. It's kind of on my terms, and the fantastic part about it is that what you learn as an entrepreneur is that you can't even take every job, right? So the cool thing is you get to pick who you want to work with and who you don't. And you never have to work with a homeowner who you don't like or get a good feeling about, you know what I mean? Oh, no disrespect. I didn't mean to come off like defensive, but yeah, I really enjoy it. Yeah. Right now, I am mixing some mortar just beneath the camera. I'll show you that in a bit if I can get real situated. Like that. Always need a water source. Always need a mortar bucket. You always need a way to spin it. Today, I'm going to put some stress on this little Ryobi. A cup of water. Let's go. Add some more. I like to just knock it down those sides. Just helps it mix in. I don't like to have too much powder kicking around or too much water slapping around. Like right now, it's sort of like pizza dough, and I want to get it to something like cream of wheat for this application. So I'll put a little bit more water in. Decent. If I were setting tile with that, that'd be perfect. But I'm waterproofing with it, so I need a little thinner. That ought to do. So, the trowel I'll be using for this will be my little bitty V-notch trowel. This is what we generally are going to use in these small tiles, mosaics, little tiles. Simple enough. Clean off a little bit of that dirt from yesterday. And then we're going to get up on it. Now, I may not be able to reach the top of that window functionally and comfortably, So I'm gonna have to put a little ledger on that tub so that I can do that. In this case, it's a two-part system, right? One, cardboard protects my tub ledge, right? And then this ply, this is 3/4 inch plywood, pretty thick, heavy stuff. And if I get it in this corner, it is awfully strong. Easily supports me and my bucket of mortar. So now I get my Curdy liner. I think it's interesting. I'll research. Oh man, that's awesome. Here's a subscribe later on. That's what's up. Take your time. It's all good. We just having fun on here. All right, so I'm gonna scoot y'all over a little closer. Maybe you can see what's going on. Maybe y'all can get me even in this tub. But that might be a little bit close. Let's see. It's a little bit close, fam. I'll move it back. Probably the bathrooms are small, right? All right, so I have the corner. We'll go ahead and get started. So here's the goal: to bridge this gap, right, between this corner and this edge. Don't want a lot of flexing in there, so we are gonna allow for some mortar in there so that when that hardens up, that'll offer some additional support behind it, just making sure it gets in that groove, right? Now, traditional tile guys are going to freak out about this. But those who have learned these Curdy products know that this stuff is amazing. And that you can pretty much tile over anything that you can get this stuff on. And I'm not going to do exactly that, but a little bit of that. Because in my case, once I wrap this corner with the waterproofing, I am going to come back over top of it with some trim. I don't know what trim, but after I get this stuff in. And then we're going to know that we've got kind of a nailer back there to nail into. But those are going to be like pinholes. So it won't have much impact because we're also going to adhere our trim to it. But sometimes the mechanical fastener will get it held in place while the chemical sets up. So right now I'm just going to go that high because, you know, as far as I can reach. And that's going to be enough to get us what we want right here. Over the top, we'll lap over it, of course. And that'll be that. You can cut this stuff relatively easy if you got a razor blade. If you don't, you just have a knife, you can poke a hole. And then once you've made an incision, like anything, it's a lot easier just to slice if you can put some tension on it. So, cut through this because I didn't have the foresight to bring a razor blade up here thinking that my knife would be good enough, but once again, I'm slightly wrong. All right, that should be my nickname, slightly wrong contractor. All right, I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna start on that corner, and then I'm gonna just press in a little bit, just so that I'm on it. I'm covering what I got, right? And remember, we did that with the notched side of this thing. So we're gonna cut this corner right here. You can almost cut this corner in any direction if you start in that corner. But I cut diagonal this way, so that when that goes down, this touches, and then that lays over. Nice and smooth and flat. Now, I'm just bridging that gap, making sure I'm at here on both sides so that I don't have some void in the actual corner, because that's what I'm trying to protect initially. I don't want a void in that corner. So now we go to the flat side of this trowel. There's a tooth side, two tooth sides, two flat sides. Now we want the flat side. And I'm doing this lightly at first, just to lay that mortar down inside of there. Now I'm going to put some real pressure on it, because I didn't want to drag my material down at first, right? And now I'm going to take the top, I'm going to send that mortar up. Get a little overage out the top, that's what we want. Back to the flat side on the inside, and I'm going to lay that down. That's going to lay those little valleys and peaks down inside of that material, and then when that dries up, we'll have a nice solid bond. Now, and it built me a nice, clean, worry-free corner. Now, a little wide, because this stuff is pre-cut, so I'll just take the razor blade, slice off my extra, no big deal, lay my tile right on top of it. I'm mostly concerned that this all gets flat, so I don't have to tear anything out or any mortar later. I want it all nice and flat as much as possible, as good as possible. A roofer will call this a 3-ply system. It means material, like a material is in a chemical, and then a fabric, and then the chemical again. But it's the same situation for this. So the cement or substrate has to dry before you put tile on. Yes and no. In some applications, yes. If I were doing this on the floor, in the shower floor, yes, absolutely. I'd want it to dry first. On this, it's fine because it's all going to dry together. All three of these layers will, because there's going to be a layer on top as well, right? And then that gets smoothed down. But by the time I literally get to the other side, that'll be dry enough for me to tile if I wanted to. I don't know if I'm going to just yet. It's going to depend on how the math works out on the other side of this window, which we'll get to right now. So, let's see if we're clean enough here, flat enough here. Because it looks like there's some bows here, and I don't really like that. But I do know that this wall tapers tight over here, a little lower in here. So maybe we just build that out a little bit and let the mortar do that. And I made this, remember I mixed this really soupy. Look how thick that's already gotten. But that is good for what we want. Because right now we got to pack that opening. Again, this kind of begins to behave as sort of a backer for this crack here, for this gap. I'm purposefully moving that into that gap, right? And I'm going to drag down material from up here. I'm flattening as I go, pushing it right back into that gap. See, I got a little void right there. to do this for everything, but this stuff can be used as kind of a mortar, as a filler. I mean, it's got a lot of the same principles. All right. The same thing, we're gonna go low as we can. Now, we're gonna start setting it up for our material. For our fabric, rather, I should say. So I'm gonna go inside of here, remember? A little bit inside. I'm gonna turn in there at least an inch. So I want at least an inch of material in there. Because that'll give me room to kind of get to what I need to get to. I'm just pushing it off the back of this trowel. And again, remember, once we get this tiled up, we're gonna clean up these windows on the inside. So don't get too stressy about that just yet. And once we know we got a good line of thin set inside, we're gonna get our grooves going down the outside of that window. No big deal. Easy peasy, Georgia and Louisiana. And all the way down. Now, notice you won't hear my trowel dragging against this edge because I don't want to produce a scratch like that. You hear that? I don't want to do that. That's just on the outside. That's not in here. That's because my wall is a little crooked. So I'm bridging that gap by riding that sound and creating this corner at the same time. Now, remember, we're still working on flat, even if we don't get plumb. It's an old house, it's an exterior wall. There's not a lot we can do about it being out of plumb without a lot more build out. And we have had quite a bit. So we're gonna do a little bit more wherever we can see it. Right here, I've got what feels like an obvious dip. So I'm gonna put a little bit more mortar in there. More mortar. A little bit more mortar cooler. And in doing that, it'll give me a nice, clean bed to put in. Oh man. All right, here I ran short, not the first time. Insert height joke. But what I'm gonna do is put the bottom in first, that way it'll lap down. This won't matter a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but it is the proper way to do it so that you ensure that the water fall, per se, goes the proper way. Now, different than that side, this side, I have no tile here that I'm bumping into that I have to concern myself with on this. So I can go ahead and just slap some extra mortar behind there, squeeze this out, and fully adhere that whole piece. I don't have to cut it out at all later. And again, we go back to clean side, flat side. Now understand, in an application like this, there are going to be pros and cons. If you're doing this, you're opting to cover this window with glass, never to be opened again, right? Because the circumstance itself doesn't want, like, you don't want to waterproof anything with wood, right? This whole window is wood. What I'm doing is pushing this mortar out, get the squeeze out. That's why I got notches on the trowels on the inside, so that we can get this very important squeeze out. That lets me know that I'm bonding. That's what I'm getting here too. And then I'm just pulling off my excess. Laying it down. That'll also help build my outside corner. You see that little void right there? That's what we had before, right? So now we're building it out just a little bit more. Which is perfect. That's what we want. That's what we got. Put a little more on that. Let that squeeze out, baby. You know what I'm saying? When what we're putting up looks flat, then the tile will look flat. Swipe it on there like cake icing. That's what I'm doing, I guess. That's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna cut some more material for this. I would put y'all onto my secret technique on how I slice it. But I don't want y'all running around the internet telling everybody all of my brilliant techniques. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. I take a razor, I measure down, and then I slice around it. It doesn't work as a replacement for the system if you're using the full system because this is a little thicker. But if this is just what you're using, it's better because this is thicker. So in this event, I'm gonna just open it up and slice me off a piece. Because the length of this, the width of this is less than the actual length that I need. So it's easy enough to cut 5-6 inches off of this. Razor on it. Now, this is a freestyle cut, so don't talk trash to me about it. Just get you with my... No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so, voila. So we needed, so we got, so we're gonna go down maybe about that far. Get some more of this free. Only need enough to get a good lap and make it to the top of that window right there. So back to our water. Alright, I gotta lean a little bit. Just like cake icing, baby. Nice and smooth. And we just go right over top of that old curry, just lap over it. No big deal. Deal with it like it's not even there. With this system, you can go over it wet. It's fine. That's how the joints are formed. That's how the bonds are made. So that's how, say it with me, Wes does it. Bam! Bam! Alright, here goes the smooth saw. Set that up at the very tippity top and turn it right there. Beautiful. Press it in that corner because this is going to help us make our corner. 3 plies here, but when it's hard, it dries, it's mortar. So it's gonna dry firm. And then the mortar, like all square concrete corner. So when I follow. So right now again, I'm squeezing out. I'm squeezing out, not for the sake of getting it out of there, but for the sake of getting it flat and getting all the air out. And placing it with the mortar on the flat end of the strap. We'll just keep going over because that's what's going to give us so we'll understand where we're at in terms of our flatness, which is important for the quality of our aesthetic. A low quality aesthetic is just as bad as a bad finish. Both are going to leave emotional damage. All right, so now I've got to go around the top corner. I know you're saying, what about this bottom? I told you. We're going to do the bottom and then we're going to go across with a ledger here underneath the window, marble maybe, and that'll be where the soaps and things like that will sit. And we're going to set a glass back in there. So it shouldn't be a big problem. It should be a big benefit, in fact. So now we're going to move along to the top, and embarrassingly enough, I'm going to need to get a step stool on top of the platform I'm on to get to that. So give me a hot second. You judgmental little scooters, you. Had to freshen up my mortar a little bit with some water to fight the evaporation that's been happening. I'll pull back a little bit so y'all can see a little bit more what's going on. Yep. I've rigged up on top of the tub, on top of the board, on top of the board, so that I can stand tall, waterproof this window. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right. Do it proud. There's one. There's two. Whew. Going back up, Bob. Going back with Wish. You guys remember that cartoon when we were kids? With like the sheepdog and the wolf? And they just show up every morning, clock in, and beat the crap out of each other. Like, morning Ralph, morning Bob. Or was it George? But either way, every day they get up and clock in to work, and just their whole day consisted of the sheepdog protecting the sheep from the wolf, whose literal job it was to come eat those sheep. And I wonder if that's what like the government feels like over here. Like the Republicans and the Democrats will just clock in to work every day just to pulverize each other with paperwork. And then just go clock out at the end of the day. They share the same stock tips. It's kind of interesting. Warren Ralph, Warren George. I wonder. So again, we're just putting the thin set on the underside because what we're doing here is sort of building a waterproof corner out of this curtain system. And we do have to have it packed in that corner. It has to be fully encapsulated. Like, there we go. There we go. Both sides in that corner and coming down over the lap. Now, all traditional methods could not waterproof wood. It just couldn't. This stuff can if you do it right. So I'm going to start here on the flat surface. And I'm going to leave room for it to turn under about an inch. And then I'm going to cut the rest of what I need here to lap. And then I'll get rid of this waste. Let this lap here, like so, given the same curve. This is not my decision maker. This is. I want that 1 inch of wrap underneath that corner so I can have a good strong corner. Exactly where I want it. I want at least a couple of inches of lap here and here. Don't quite have enough mortar behind it, so I'm going to do that on both edges. And that's going to mean I'm going to go ahead flatten this one out. With the untoothed portion of my trowel. Give me some squeeze out underneath there, and then take it right back. I'm going to same this way. Squeeze out in that joint. Follow to the edge. More squeeze out. Down onto that side. Now, the tricky part is that we got 2 dimensions here, 3 here, so we need to put a cut diagonal from that corner down so that we can fold in, boom, 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 in, boom. We do that on both sides. Start the corner, 45 down. Nothing else. Get our trowel back. Flatten that, flatten that, reinforce, reinforce, and then I'm just going to turn that corner nice and smooth. And then I'm going to press in. Remember, I'm pressing away from the corner so that I can encourage that corner to stick to that mortar that I put back there. This stuff is a little thicker, so it does resist a little bit more. And that's why you want a good squeeze out, because that's going to create almost like a vacuum seal inside of there. So it's a couple of physics elements at play here. If you get them all working on your side, you will have some success with this system. But if you do not, you can have some real trouble because you won't know why it's leaking. Because you won't know which part out of the parts that you cheated was the element that you shouldn't have done, or you should have done. So listen to those manufacturers when you can, or at least know the principles as to why. Because if you understand that, you don't ever even really need to manufacture warranty. Because you do it right, and it'll be fine. At this point, the Curdy is a time-tested system. You can trust it. I would imagine Red Guard is too, but I'm scared of it. I don't have much experience with it. But what I have done with it has never leaked, so I'm not hating on it either. Here, I'm just getting rid of this extra because I don't want this necessarily behind this tile. I want it just shy of that so it doesn't actually fall in my joint. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to reinforce that. The heck. With some mortar. Flat side. Smooth all that out. So, as you'll soon see, tile setting is not just about tiling per se. It's about setting up a good tile situation where you can have a successful set. I got my mortar just a little bit loose right now because I want it spreadable. I don't need to hold anything per se. I need it to cover and get flat because I need to completely cover that fabric. Again, in order to have a proper bond, proper corner, in the right situation here. And if we can get that to bond, the inside and the outside to dry together, bond up and all that, then we will have good, clean, watertight handle. And I just dropped my handle in the daggone. almost went to blame that on Ryobi. I don't know why I had that impulse. Rest of the mortar. Go down the entire window side. Can you see me? Yeah, we'll go down that entire side. And in doing so, we have now built out our corners successfully. And now, go back to the hard part, flattening, smoothing, cleaning up, sharpening up this corner so that it is good, strong, firm for our tile itself. Back to the flat side of the trowel. And I just spread that mortar. And what I'm doing is taking out the air pockets inside and I'm coating the outside kind of at the same time. That's also pushing this corner square. Alright, I'm just going to ride the edge so the corner gets square. And then I come over this side, draw the same edge. This is why I don't understand why tile guys and drywall guys are not best friends, because there's a lot of similarities. Technique wise, like if you can do one, you definitely can do the other. And you should, why not? I don't know. We all know my theme song is West Desert, so we all know that. So I'm just cleaning up this corner. Hit this side, hit that side. Squeeze out whatever extra will squeeze out. Remember, we want a full corner, but we want a fully adhered corner. Like I'm taking material out of here. It's gone. So as possible, smooth on my corner, square, as manageable as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect, but as close as I can reasonably get. There's some benefit. Spread material in this corner too, because I want it flat. I want it square. And this is the prep work that is not as pretty. It's not as rewarding for some tile guys. And they just don't want to do this part. They just want to stick tile. Which is why I'm here and they are not. My reputation got here weeks before I did. But look I need some likes, y'all. Man, I'm feeling friggin' death trap right now. We're making beautiful things right now. I can't get a like. All right, that's what's up. You're all dipped on your boy. Okay. Now we have actual corners in this thing. Watertight, reasonable corners. Question is, what do we do with them? That's the real question. So these tiles are not centered to it. So some stuff's gonna have to get cut. But I do want to come back the same amount on each side. And not from this edge, but from this edge. Because these vary. Welcome to the engineering segment of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Where I stand here and drink coffee and scratch my head and try to figure out what the hell to do next. One thing that I'm certain I'm gonna have to do is cut that. And this is our edge, so it's going to be a determiner. Get my tape measure. Pencil. Make some decisions. I'll see my tape. 6 inches. So what if that went in there like that? And then that would be a 3 3/4 inch tile. Take that down. 3 3/4. Let's check it up here. We're going 3 3/4. Can I set that there? Yep. Just ride that edge, baby. Fantastic. What are we gonna do over here though? So over here we can do the same thing. But what's the next tile size gonna give us? Oh my God, that's a whole tile. Yo, you can ride that boy all the way up. 3 3/4 over here, a whole tile over here. No cuts. Oh, we got a bunch over there. We got cuts in the corner. Dang. Let's see. What's our cut? 2. 2 inches all the way up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tiles. It's 13 of those at 2 inches. And the same at 3 3/4. Let's go. Let's get some cuts. Let's get some cuts, cores. I'm aware this is overkill. Or is it? So, let's set up our 2 3/4 first. I'd say 3 3/4. So that's 3 3/4, and let's see where that puts us right here. For our cut. Let's go right there. Lock him in. Lock him in. What up, Jake? Welcome back. We're gonna snap this one. See if that's gonna stay the same throughout the course of our circumstance. Quite obviously, we need to learn this a little bit. But we got our cut, right? So every now and then you gotta take the track out and get that little junk out of the middle. But we're locked down so we can repeat this cut. Back in. Back across. Put the foot down. Got 2 pieces. One's awesome, right? Keep that going. We got 13 of these. Just double check them. Make sure we stay on target. 3 3/4. Could be better. That was a little reckless. Still pulled it off like a boss. So I need a bunch of these. 13 and 14. Let's see. Now you see why I got this thing. A straight cut on a simple tile situation, this thing will get you done much faster than a wet saw. Even though I have a wet saw too, when I need it. For now, check the junk out of it. Let's see. Now, what we are going to have to do, because these are going to be faced, these are going to be right up against another tile on the face of, and I don't know if you see that, but there are little imperfections along the way, so we're going to file that down. So this isn't quite as reckless as it looks, but it is faster than wet saw for this application on this day. For the volume that I've got. And then once I've got enough, I'll go ahead and run the file over. And then I'll move forward. Now, efficiency is often about tooling. Having the right thing there. The wet saw takes up a lot of setup time. This is not, it's almost zero mess. And it's not as polished, admittedly, but I am rushing. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's get 2 more. That went fast. You know what's ridiculous? I don't have any of the bullnose here. All I got is scraps. Forgot. So if I do put them on, I can't really turn them in proper without that. Sort of sucks. But at the same time, we can put it up, we can level, we can plumb, we can get it smooth, and it'll still be dope. Where is everyone? I don't know where everybody is, man. What's going on? Where'd they go? Did they hate me? Did they not love me? Did I not do enough? I might ever, never know. My heart must be broken. My love starts. I wonder if when I gotta go make this Home Depot trip today, if that's gonna. That was awful. Look at that. Bad cut. Thanks for the like. You came back and gave me a like. I know that was you, Jake. Good looking out, man. Came back and gave me a brand spanking like. All right, here we go. We're going to climb back up. We're going to get these boys on the wall. But we're not going to do it frivolously. We're going to do it professionally. Like the magnificent species that I am. I may need to make some more mortar, y'all. May need to make some more mortar. Cup. 2 cups of water. And 1 more half of love. Now, once again, we have gotten our material to a fantastic grits-like quality. And we're gonna go ahead and stick these tiles. We're gonna stick them with the understanding that we are gonna follow with this border that I don't have here now, but I am gonna use this piece kind of as a guide, right? So that I can make sure that we get our pieces placed in a way that'll accept this material when we get to it. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get to it. Oh, wait. We almost forgot a very important step. And we are not a group of half-steppers on the West Desert page. And that is, we gotta get our file together so that we can clean up those edges when we hang this tile on the wall, right? So we start with the most perfect of them at eye level and work our way up. Now, there are no bad tiles. But some of them won't be as awesome as others. And we hate them with all our passion. Just kidding. So, these all got cut on the same relative pattern. So, we're gonna hang them like it's all good. All right. And that bottom one, I'm gonna have to cut him. So I'm just gonna put this little decoy tile in here with no mortar, just so that it will hold up what I've got behind me here. Because that placement is what I'm actually after, right there. Something right in the middle-ish, right? We want it to line up nice and clean and smooth though. Keep our edges nice and pretty. And that is the beauty of working with a ceramic tile, is they are fairly pliable. In terms of if you gotta cut into them, it is not a ton of effort. In fact, it's often quite easy. Now remember, we've already got that set on here. Bless me. So we've already built out a little bit. We want to be careful that we don't go too far. We got a tile that's way out of whack. And clean it up. Presentation isn't everything, but it's enough to hold up your check. So do it right and make it pretty. Right now I'm just filing down. The corner of this tile is probably a good 1/8 of an inch out of whack. So on an 1/8 inch grout line, that is twice the width, which will be noticeable. Even on a white tile with a white grout, it will be visible. Take your time, clean things up. Do something you can be proud of. Now, people ask me all the time, this client in fact, about DIYing their own tile work, and I say, sure, because you can get some of the basic things that you need to do it. And save a little money. But the less experience you have, it's almost like the more tooling you need to compensate for your lack of experience. And you'll end up having to get far more stuff that you'll never use again. That's kind of the problem. Or you can rent it from, places. You still overspend, and then you won't have any tool at the end, and you very well might hurt yourself. Don't know. There's different levels of DIY people, But this particular homeowner, I think she could pull it off. But I don't know that she'd have the bandwidth to pull off the waterproofing part of a shower enclosure. Like, I do this for a living. This is day, 4 of tile work? Maybe? Sheesh. I don't know how many days of prep. So, so here I am filing down the edges. Got a 4x4, pretty common ceramic tile. But that's why it's going in this space, because we're going for classic. If I were a real estate agent trying to sell this thing now or 15 years from now, this thing's gonna hit the mark. Because historic never outdates itself. You can always say historic and get a value from it if it tracks. So that's a little tip for you on how to keep your value proper in your old home. A lot of people try to go modern, like hotel modern, but hotels have good designers. They don't necessarily hire great installers. The details are not great, but the design is, so everybody gets very impressed by it. But because it's relatively cheap work, they change it fairly often. So those things trend in, trend out, trend in, trend out. And your house is in a hotel. You don't want that for your home. You don't want it to be trending out in 5 years after you've made a substantial enough investment as a bathroom remodel or a kitchen remodel or something like that. You want it to hold that value. I work to hold that value. So the classic stuff here, 100% appropriate. But remarkably, it also keeps the cost down, because these are not the cheapest tiles you can get, but pretty close. Pretty close to getting something that looks good, that nobody scoffs at. This is as basic as you can get, but the install has to be superb. If the install's not good on the classic stuff, it's gonna look cheap immediately. Like immediately. People will be like, what happened? And I can see my tile starting to inch up a little bit, and what's wild is I can't do anything about it, because that's the tile size changes. I got a rogue in there somewhere, because it's just squeaking up. But I did not change with it. If I need to, I can shave one of these down, make it a little bit tighter. with that. Show you something cool. If you need to take a millimeter off of these tiles here, they've got these little grout bumps here. These little bumps in the corners that allow you to fasten. You knock a little bit of that off with this tile, you make your grout line a little bit tighter. If you have a situation like what I'm getting now, where something is just got a 32nd of an inch bigger than everything else and is making me look like I'm stepping up. And so now, this might be the adjustment for that. In fact, I'm going to pull this tile down altogether. Maybe get some of that this out from behind him too. And now, that one's just a little shorter than it was. And it's going to let the tile above it set a little bit shorter than it did. And I think we'll get something we can handle after that. And do another. And shave down two little bumps. That also works if you're going left to right, because again, these are not perfect tiles. They're cheap tiles, but they're classic tiles. And there are bougier versions of them, but those tend to go in and out of style. We're after classic. We're after what your grandma and grandpa were after. Forever love. Forever love what West does it over here. This wet mortar will try to bow out a little bit. Not worried about that grout line. I'm going to take care of that. And if worse comes to worse, I'll snatch that whole thing out of there. You know what I'm saying? But we got what we want going up now, I think. A little more on there. Just so that I know it's real. Pack it in this corner here so that these tiles kind of marry to each other as they dry. They're kind of squeezing in that mortar behind them on this edge. It's also a way for me to visually be able to check this corner in these tiles to see if they start to bow or wiggle out of place. Gotta be careful because they will cut your finger. Sort of being careful, but I'm more interested in this line being clean and visible to me. Because remember, this is going to be hard and dry by the time what I'm connecting to it is even available to me. So I don't want it dry and crooked in any way, and me not being able to compensate for that. Which is also why no gloves today. We gotta rely on our sense of touch a little bit more than other days. We wash our tool down, get it nice and clean. If that edge ain't clean, it ain't flat. If it ain't flat, this ain't no level. It certainly costs what an expensive level costs. So I need to stay at level. Like, mortar gets on everything when you're doing tile work, but this tool is one of them that is useless when that mortar's on there. You have to get it off so you have this flat, clean way to register things. And oh my God, is that level? And oh my gosh, is that flat? Let's see if we can get this way. Same. Beautiful. Beautiful. Happy about all that. Move over to this side. Start putting that together. I can go ahead and actually send those two up, I guess. I've got 2 whole tiles available to me. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. Whoever you are, wherever you are. Whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, I'll Over there we got 2 inches, and we need how many of those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of those, 12, 13, 14. We need at least 14 of those. At 2 inches. Now that's going to be a left and a right side of one tile, so give it a shot. Hopefully that'll work out good for us. Hopefully. Jeez. Just putting water inside of my drill like a dummy. Alright, back to the cutter. Back to the cutter cam. Now we're after a 2-inch cut. How can we do that? Not enough. That means I gotta get rid of this one. It's weird. Because it just stops it. It doesn't let it go later. Because this is essentially a big tile saw. A little bitty tile saw. 2 inches is about there. Now this is a 4-inch tile, so hopefully that'll be dead halfway. If not, we'll adjust it to it and see if it fits both ways. Roll over the top. Are you kidding me? I'll break it up here. I was about to cry. Did you see it? Did you see me about to cry? Let's go see if these two pieces fit. Whichever one does, we're gonna go with it. Both of them do. Hallelujah. That's a mad short, but it'll be fine. That one is snug. So we know we can shift over, and that'll be perfect. It's 4 1/4. So that means that's 2 1/8. Good enough for me. Tighten down. Batten down the hatches. Nice and low. Boom. So we need like a dozen of these, so I'm gonna hit like 6 of them. That's 2. It's 3, which is 6. 8. You need a dozen, right? 10. 12. That's how fast that goes. That's how good that goes. start popping those in along with our hole tiles. And I need a rubber mallet. Where is that? Rubber mallet to the rescue. Yes, sometimes the wood side is what you need. And a café leggerment. Delicious. Flick it on the wall, just flick it. Flick it, dude. All right, so in this circumstance, hit the wall, boom. Skim it down. So we're gonna keep adding such a wonder. Whew. Well, now essentially I've made a bunch of cuts around this window to work this tile level and plumb all the way up and around the window, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to get these two to bridge in the middle somehow and still be on par with my lines. And so far, I feel fairly good about that. There. And I'm gonna look at some of these smaller pieces, see how they're gonna intersect on this side here. Definitely not enough there to get right clean. But I do need to get those figured out and get them up that wall. Yeah. Just gonna have to figure that out. That's gonna have to get up that wall. That's gonna have to continue up. Yeah. Try to get a lot of it laid today. Unfortunately, I don't have the trim, but we do have the field tile, so we'll get as much of that cut as we can in the next hour and a half. Start slapping that stuff up everywhere. So for the time being, I know I got this corner to finish to go up for the ceiling, so I'm gonna put 2 more pieces up there and run that in. Hopefully these 2 scraps will fit. Yes, they will. So we're gonna scooch our rig over a little bit more so we can get to it. And again, this is a classic 4x4 tile that we are trying to make sure that we carry the experience of being in a 100-year-old space, but we want it to look like it's got pristine 100-year-old stuff in it. So that is why we're using this tile, because it's period correct. And in the design world, that definitely means something. When you are buying a house, you're buying a little bit of history, particularly if you're buying something that's old. You know that you're buying some history. And what you're not interested in is looking like every other fluff and fold bathroom with subway tiles and agreeable gray everywhere. Right? We want to look like somebody with some design background 100 years ago made some brilliant decisions, and a fantastic craftsman executed them. So essentially, that's what we're doing. That's exactly what's happening. Again, we're just going to keep going up. We got just a little bit more left in here. I don't try to get too far ahead on that because it dries up over time. And we don't want to be working with something too stiff. The mortar needs to be wet enough that it will adhere. And that it will adhere. What's the word? Not responsibly, but properly. So we don't have to worry about it. But I got maybe just enough mortar in here to stick a couple more tiles before we have to go off the ladder and make some more. All right, and there you go. Slow and steady. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from things like Tiling with Troy McClure. See what happened? The phone did something. And back to it. All right. So we've got our tile up. We're starting to see some results here. And we're we're simply hoping to join those two in a good, meaningful way. And that's going to mean a couple of feet of board to hold everything across the top. Don't know if I want to put that ledger on there first and then do that and then carry it up, or if I want to run this side first, get that out of the way, because that would be pretty amazing in terms of having a full enclosure today. So let's work on that maybe. And take a brief little break. Be back.